Thank you very much.
Question, just one quick question. Tide Talks. I know they're supposed to start in October, but nothing's posted yet. Are they going to happen? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will go into, affordable housing applicant. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Second item? Okay. Vila on Channel side and the three parks and, Tyler Hudson and Nick Venture.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna tee it up real quick. As you know, the applicant came last month to discuss their affordable housing application that they submitted for workforce housing within the Channel District. They made some adjustments to their request, and then made further adjustments to their request after that, after conversations with a counter that was presented to them, to counter based off of our budget. So basically I presented a counter and said, hey, based off our budget, this is what we could do based off of the matrix. I just want to preface by basically saying, hey, you know, what's in front of you. I'm kind of looking for direction either in approval of what's in front of you or a possible recommendation of a counter to say, hey, you know, we don't kind of agree, but this is what we agree upon, to just give some direction to myself. And then, as you know, after the recommendations done here, it then moves over to the CRA board, and then they could just say whatever they want at that point. But I just want to say, hey, I'm just looking for a discussion and kind of some recommendations from them. But I want to go ahead and bring Nick over. Oh, sure.
Did y'all get answers to the questions that you got in red? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Wait. Oh, this one.
I'll click, he talks.
However you want to team up.
I'm just here to click.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want us to hold our discussions to the end or while you're presenting?
I think probably
Just wanted to hit on a couple of things which came up in the last meeting and in our subsequent discussions with staff. One of them is, we have clarified and committed that in addition to the temporary green space that will occur on the adjacent property on Channelside Drive prior to the construction of the second building on a permanent basis, and there's a slide in your presentation, we are committing to approximately 12,000 square feet of 11,300 square feet of permanent green space along Channelside Drive, adjacent to this project and to the future project on 1236 Channelside Drive. We also made it more clear that the exterior of the parking garage for 1242 Channelside, and eventually when we get to 1236 as well, will be an opportunity for public art.
Can you guys see that on screen, the public art, the blue? It's kind of, okay, you guys have it in front of you, okay.
I'm just listening to this meeting real quick. I'm right here. I'm listening to this meeting real quick. I'll be there in a minute.
Oh. Brenda, you have to mute yourself, honey.
Nick, what other use
Okay.
would that be, that strip? What is that? That strip, is that like an entrance or?
No, the intention is that will be a public park space. It'll be public green space.
I think he's talking about where the palm trees are.
Oh, that's just meant to be on your side of the property, Andy, or on the?
This little strip here,
with the dotted line.
the 11,300, is that like a walkway from Channel side?
I just want to make sure.
Is that the ingress?
So that's just meant to show hardscape and landscape. That would be publicly available green space, park space within that band. That's 11,300 square feet.
That rectangle.
Yes, the rectangle.
But then,
To the sidewalk. Over to the sidewalk from 12 to Channel.
So this is to Channel Side Drive, so.
No, take a look at the initial green space. And you mentioned last time,
that spans from 12th Street over to Channelside Drive. It's in the picture right there. Not gonna not current?
Oh, yeah, they didn't draw in it, so.
There won't be,
So that's taken away.
can't do both, yeah.
Okay.
It's not our, yeah.
It's still a small walkway.
That was meant again to show a band and the planning of exactly how that green space works. We have some more words.
So
But
with,
you know, again, now this is meant to show the temporary condition. And we're occupying a portion of what's shown with that sidewalk, but there could be, you could still work a sidewalk in at the northern end of the green space as well to create flow from 12.
Nick, to follow up. Isn't this my property?
Not where the green space is.
Okay, so this area here, this is not on my property?
Yeah, we're not sure. We just,
Green space is that dotted area.
if we had shown the current conditions, it would have kind of been distracting from what we're trying to show.
No, but,
We're not doing anything with your property. But
no, but for the
the
record,
dotted line is the property line between your property and ours.
okay, so on the last screen, how would y'all how would y'all have put a walkway? Because it would have been on my property. Because I own half of where those palm trees are. I own all that.
This was meant to be, this is indicative of a temporary condition before we start construction on 1236, right? We can't do anything on your property. You know, let's not get lost on sidewalk, no sidewalk.
No,
The portion of the property that we're not developing that we own will be green space. That's a temporary, let's just throw that one away, right? Because that's temporary during construction of 1242. This is the permanent condition.
but everything from that line,
It's not, we're not trying to show green space, and we're just,
Would you agree that that's my
overlay a
property?
picture of the existing condition of the property with the,
Are we in agreement that that's all my property there?
what is?
With all that green area is not part of your development, that's my property.
Yeah, what's north of the dotted line
Yes,
is your property,
okay.
and that's
so-
not indicated as the green space.
No, I'm aware of that, but I just want to
We have
make
to
sure
show
that
a property line.
everybody knows that that's not part of the development.
Yeah.
Okay, and where they had that, to your point, where they had that sidewalk, it couldn't have been possible because that was part of my
Oh,
property.
you come up last.
Yeah, I remember you. So, no, I just wanted to make sure the record was clear that where the property line was, all this green area, that's not going to be green area one day. The aquarium, actually, I donate a portion of a warehouse that they're on right there where you see the, where it says permanent green area space plaza. I donate a portion of that to the aquarium to use for their warehouse. And that's the current warehouse, just to let y'all know. Okay, I just want to make sure everybody knew that green area is not going to be permanent green area. Neither do they have ownership of it.
And the image here doesn't indicate that it is.
Well, the previous one did with the sidewalk, it showed it going through my property.
It's just showing the temporary condition of property.
The initial green space is showing
No.
palm trees that
No,
were
look.
installed onto this property. And then, so no, you're,
No, look here.
right here is this. So that's not correct. That's acting like you guys are assuming this space,
This is our space. We own this property.
all this. So
Yes,
you own this.
we don't own this. We own all of this.
You're saying that you own.
No. Here's, look at the corner of the
So-
building. You see this? And then you see this? There's the corner of the building. So you do not own this.
I just checked on the property.
Yeah, there's no
This
cursor.
is our property. This is Andy's property.
So is this right here? Right?
Yeah.
With this property line.
Yeah, the building comes all the way up to the
I think it might be fruitful, just out of respect for the rest of folks waiting, just to kind of focus on what the commitment.
we were asked to pledge permanent green space. You guys are looking like, the purpose of this images was not to show the property line between Mr. Scaglione's property and our property. What we've indicated on the image as permanent green space will be permanent green space.
That's his space. So how can you say it's?
No, it's not his space.
Yes, it's where I have a warehouse at right now. Yes, I have a warehouse right here. The aquarium is-
So where is it that you're noting again? On the paper, where are you noting that is your property? Is it this,
It's
this is
the-
the one you're referencing? I just
Yeah,
need to know.
It says 1240, it says.
So that's all of your, so this is they're just
But
referencing their.
I don't think people are looking at. the-
But if you look
prior
at this,
rendering, correct? So we own, sorry to reach over.
No, you're fine.
they have a
But,
sidewalk.
This
This is
is
conflict
1236
between that
and a portion of 1242. We own all of this. The sidewalk is misleading. Apologize for the sidewalk as architects who were just trying to, but the sidewalk sits on Andy's property. Everything here is our property.
So this is yours.
No.
Because
It's, no, it's not. It's
See
a
the corner
different,
of
it's
this
a
building right here?
different
I mean, my
image.
goodness, it doesn't matter. This right here is, if
Nick,
you're
it's my
not
property.
clear on this
We
amount.
verified it with the property appraiser.
uh,
I
no.
verified.
So I don't.
So
know if
what
it's-
is it? Okay, so let's notate, okay,
We are
Apparently,
committing
there's-
11,300 square feet on our property at the north end of 1236 to be permanent green space. That
okay.
is what we're saying. If the visuals are misleading, we apologize for that, but the visual.
If I can say one thing, I think the issue last time, and I don't know where those renderings are, is that where you see sort of the shadow of that building. Last time there was some confusion about, well, is that green space going to say? It's not, because the building that's on land at 1236 Channelside Drive will be constructed with the building. So that's why the green space would get reduced. The affirmative commitment, though, is 11,300 square feet, and it's where those tall palm trees are.
Do they know where 1236
So
is?
this,
I think
right
so.
here
So
is
the
what you
shadow of
The
the
shadow.
building that you guys see on screen to the south,
Correct.
which is
It's
up
within
on
this.
screen, up the
Yeah.
south, yeah.
You understand?
Oh, yeah, no, I got it.
This is, no, this.
The prior rendering is, again, it's a rendering of a temporary condition. The prior rendering is a little confusing. But again, the permanent commitment is the rendering that shows the 11,300 square feet of green space. That 11,300 square feet is what looks like a combination of hardscape and greenscape. It's on our property.
In the single dotted line.
Just this, but you don't own this.
and
We're not saying we do. We're not saying that's where the green space
I
is.
think what we need to look at, these are two different.
Okay.
Well, the problem
Yeah.
is they drew this apart in to start with, which is this portion here. He's talking about this right here. But it's just a little.
I apologize for the confusion of the prior, but again, the subject matter, I think here is a commitment to provide workforce affordable housing. In addition to committing to providing workforce affordable housing, we are committing to providing 11,300 square feet of green space on our property permanent. There's no ambiguity about that. And then finally, as B mentioned, there was a request, there was a request from, there was a request in the prior meetings that we reduce the ask and exclude the 40 units that had been included for a portion of the 50 years associated with the bonus density for this project. We have excluded those units. So the only units that are part of this potential incentive are 60 new units that were not otherwise pledged. That equated based on the program and incentive amounts per unit at the various pricing levels to $10.5 million of incentive. Staff came back to us and asked us to reduce that ask to 7.25 million, which we did, along with some slight reduction, some slight modifications in the allocation amongst the units at the various price points, which is reflected here. So it's now a $7.25 million request associated with 60 affordable units for 50 years.
Okay,
You're gonna go through, is there more?
or
No, that's
are you
it.
curious? Okay.
okay.
Parking. Right now, the proposal is 417 parking spaces. You are looking at a total of 399 units. Traditionally, the number I've always heard for the area is 1.5 is the amount of parking spaces per units that are there. So that's question one. Question two is your guest parking. Is that included in your 417, or is there not any guest parking included in your proposal?
There's approximately an additional 25 parking spaces on the first level of the parking garage that would be transient parking
Okay, so,
available for retail customers. And then we typically, our apartment buildings have a high concentration of studios. Studio renters tend not to need as many parking spaces as more traditional 1 and 2 bedroom renters. So generally, we're closer to 1-to-1. That's not just here. but
And that is the
projects
zoning
across
code.
the
Just to,
Is it-
it's a totally fair question, but the project has been entitled already in the Channel District, unlike other portions of the city. It's a 1 per unit requirement regardless of bedroom size,
Right.
which is just different in the Channel District than like Tampa Heights, for example.
so, more or less,
Just to back up what Mark said, so the 417, is that the accumulative? Is that including the 25? Or are you saying that there's 25 additional to the 417?
There's approximately 25 additional parking spaces on the first level that aren't included. So we're at about 440 parking spaces in total. 417 of those are going to be nested, dedicated to the residential units, and the approximately 25 spaces on the first floor will be available for transit.
And that 25, will you have a cross easement with the future development you're going to do next door?
No, the next development will be self-sufficient from a parking.
There won't be cross easements in the parking? No agreements?
Yeah, it'll have its own parking garage.
With no cross easements?
Okay, none that we anticipate right now.
Subject to change.
It's a future building.
Okay.
We're talking about 399 unit building right now. It's a big project.
what obstacle, again, this isn't, I think we proposed for possibly next month's meeting for us to talk about across the street from where you're going to be. And Ed, I really don't want to get into it tonight because I know what there. So it sounds like there's going to be some renovation there, a new terminal potentially going in there and so forth. Just wondering the impact to the whole area with your unit, parking availability and all that within that space once you get up.
I can maybe field that. Just I've worked on some other projects around here. So what you see on screen, the diagonal cut, Banana Dock, Metro
Right.
Port, that's going to get filled in.
Right.
The port owns all that land over there. Most of all that land, the city actually owns that little tip right there in the northern part of the channel. There's going to be a lot of construction, for a while. It's going to be, but I can speak to it actually. Yeah.
Right now, we just received city council approval last week to fill in Metroport, so we can expand to a new cruise terminal, which will. A lot of people think that that's going to be where the cruise terminal is, where Metroport is. No, that's going to be hardscape. And we're right out here where you see Margaritaville, we will have another
Okay.
room for another ship heading north-south, if you will.
But there will be another terminal down in the
I think you
city.
can see where the little
Okay.
hand van is. Yeah, I mean, you can say that the views are still going to be obstructed. There's going to be another cruise ship there at some point. I defer to Ed on, when that's going to happen, but there is going to be some type of development there from a parking perspective, though, and in connection with other projects.
We are adding parking.
Okay.
That's
The initial parking.
Glad you have that.
Sorry, I have one drawing right here.
Yeah.
You can see this. This is where the slip is right now. And you see the access there. This is going to be filled in, and this will be the next cruise terminal. They will be not cruise terminal 1, 2, 3, and 4. But this is now 6.
Yeah.
We will be adding initially an 800 space parking garage, and we'll be adding more parking down the road as well.
Thanks, Ed.
Sure, and I can give you some
Glad
economic.
you were here.
So you would know the answer to this, on the shipyard property that Daryl hasn't, what percent, how many affordable units are going to be part of that?
It's 10% of whatever is going to get built.
10%?
Yeah.
So
It's
And that's a requirement.
we have to do a minimum of 150 affordable units because, the city was concerned, well, what if that turned into an entirely non-residential development, which, I think is unlikely. So at minimum, there have to be 150. Because it's entitled for up to 4,750 units, the maximum would be 475, but it would still be 10%, all in with this project. And we're not talking about CRA grant money. I'm talking solely about how many units are going to have a restriction on the rent that can be charged. I think it ends up being around 25%, which, I mean, that's by far the largest in a market rate project, housing set aside. Typically it's 10% for bonus reasons. As we discussed, remember 10% of the units we kind of already promised. This is a new incremental addition of more units.
So on Daryl's property, what is the maximum amount? I mean, how many units are you entitled to?
On Ybor Harbor,
Yeah.
4,750,
4,000.
which I don't see any worlds or parallel universe where we get that many, but that's the maximum theoretically. I mean, it's like, I think I want to say it's like 6.9 million square feet.
But the point is, there is going to be affordable housing that's going there. And of a minimum,
Yeah.
a minimum
Some
of
of it won't-
150.
Yeah, some of it won't be in the district though, because as y'all well know, the CRA boundary is very snaggly when it comes to that port area. It kind of cuts in. So anything east of the channel, like east of the dry docks that you can see up there.
Yeah.
That's obviously not in the channel district, but I will say that there is sort of an established precedent of some other projects around here doing that 10% set aside.
I've got a question for Bean.
I have a question.
Okay. Be Kevin Johnson's presentation this week, which dealt with the housing needs assessment, okay, which was well done. It would be nice to see that here. The question is, I don't know where Channel District falls within that presentation. Are we Central Tampa? Are we New Tampa? Are we South Tampa?
That would be the
You guys-
same.
No, it's considered to be central, but downtown, I will get you the answer on what they consider the Channel District to be. I gear it more downtown, but it's considered to be central based off of what they present.
And that leads to the next question. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean much to us here because we're pushed into a larger conglomerate. If you can follow where I'm going with
Yeah.
this. And I'm sure you had the research done by an outside company and they did that. It would be nice to know the findings relative to specifically the Channel District.
Okay.
And the reason for that is I don't know what a good number of units that we should be looking at to approve here. Should it be 50 units? Should it be 100? Should it be 500? Okay. And I think even though it's only a benchmark, it would at least give us a better read of the proposal these gentlemen have come in with. Is this, are we in the ballpark? Are we spending everything we got? Though we need to probably spend towards another X number of units, or boy, we could be even spending more, relative to this. But we need a little more direction relative to, I'm sure what the city spent a lot of money on to
Yeah,
do their assessment.
yes. So
Okay.
I can get that information.
I mean, I'm sorry, do you guys concur with that we at least have something?
Well, to follow up, if you just, the 150 units, if they go on Daryl's on the CRA side at 125,000, depending on the AMI.
Yeah.
That's an $18 million ask. That's what it'll be coming to us.
Well, they're not, no, because I don't think he's gonna ask.
Yeah,
for
we are not,
CRA
we are not going to ask for affordable.
I
housing
have
here.
not
It-
been asked.
Yeah, I can put a fine point on that. We have a pending app before you all, and it does not include affordable housing.
Correct.
Okay.
Through Harbor. It includes infrastructure, a lot of it, but it does not.
Which
include
is what the
affordable housing.
CRA does, infrastructure support, but,
In the
no,
future, you're saying there won't be.
We will not ask for money for.
I know that I've asked. I'm not close to him as he is, but I'm saying I've asked, what's the updates? Are they coming for money? And nothing has been said about them coming for a subsidy.
Trying to, but not for affordable housing.
For
Not
affordable
not for affordable housing. We're trying to come for
affordable
infrastructure. We got a
Yeah.
long Santa Claus.
Infrastructure is
list, but
different.
yeah, Not for.
Infrastructure
not
is
for-
different, but for affordable housing, it has not been forecasted that he's coming to ask for dollars.
Yeah, I believe this is the first one. I mean, and
This
that-
is the
and that
first one.
Puts you guys, I think, in a position where we expect questions because it's
Yes.
the first time anyone's come for this. Central Park had a really similar project. I think we talked about that maybe at the last time we were here, that this was modeled on in terms of kind of the spread of units. I have two.
Well, downtown, it wasn't central. You mean the one that I gave?
Yeah, LD&D.
LD&D?
That's true. It's on the
LD&D
border.
just went downtown.
Yeah. Okay.
Cause it was
It's on
in
the
the
border
mid,
though,
yeah,
literally, from the
but
border along
he
the
did,
border, yeah.
they did downtown.
And I have the information here that I can share.
Yeah.
I think there's sometimes questions about
About how much.
what do all
we
the
can-
numbers mean? Like, who is this 80% person? So, you know, for example, 15 studios,
Well, you
80%
have it.
AMI.
It's right
So what does that mean? It means the rent.
Yeah.
So that means that the
And I
income
think I
limit
gave it to you.
for those 15 studios is $58,450. So that means that that's an income that's lower than a starting TPD officer. So, you know, I have witnessed at council sometimes and in other conversations, this idea that, you know, 140% AMI is, you know, Elon Musk level abundance. I mean, that's tight too. I mean, to put a persona on that, you know, 140% 2-bedroom, let's say there's 2 people in the household, that's a combined income of 116,000. So that could be one person, you know, doing fairly well and they just have a home office. They would qualify, but so would 2 folks making 58 or some combination that gets to 116. We talk a lot about like the rent limit in these conversations, but you also need there's an income limit too. And I think that's kind of helpful as y'all think through, well, who are these people? I mean, that could be a waiter. I mean, or someone working at one of the hotels downtown at that 80% category.
Yeah, it's a workforce issue. It's a working issue. It's not a poverty issue anymore. It's a
And
workforce.
isn't it fair to say, V, that there's thousands of units of need,
Yes,
and this is the first project in the Channel District?
Yes.
to come
so
forward
I
with
want to
this program.
emphasize that. And back to you, you know, the mayor's public declaration of 10,000 units, the city has not even hit that, you know, it's well below that. So I will say the more units I can create and convert, see, that's not something that we talk about a lot. And that's like the new thing that CRA can do. And that's what I spearheaded, converting units, like existing buildings that have units that landlords will say, hey, you know what, I could put this whole floor as affordable housing. What can you do to subsidize me to make sure we could keep this for how many years? But that's another conversation. Out of these districts that already have these buildings with existing units, again, being creative on how we can look at subsidy for each one of these units. But he's the first one to apply. So that was something, like I said, I'm bringing to the table. I did, based off of the matrix that, you know, I developed as well, and that's just construction costs. It doesn't go into looking at market versus affordability rent. That's a whole different question. We can't even subsidize like that. It will be millions of dollars. But when we look at the construction, buying down construction, that's where that matrix comes into hand, because that's true dollars that came from money, you know, figures that came from those studies, also from actual developers that we all have relationships with, giving them, you know, they give us this information on how much it takes to build these units. So with that, just one more thing. With that being said, that's why I wanted to go ahead and emphasize that this is no longer a poor people's issue, is a workforce issue. I can't even live in the city and I make 6 figures. I'm full transparency. Like, I'm not a multimillionaire. You know, I can't even live in the city and I'm a full-on professional. So this has now become a workforce issue for this area. So I just wanted to say
No,
that.
thank you. Questions? I have a list of questions. On the 10% that we're entitled for the rezoning, what is the AMI on that?
120%.
And
Up
half
to?
at 80, half 120.
Okay.
So I would consider it as 5% set aside, one at 80% AMI and one at 120% AMI.
One is
And
120
that's
But
measured
it's maxed at 120% AMI. That's what I was trying to say.
and one is 80, half of it is
half
80.
at 80. Yeah. And just so everyone knows, like we maybe
Mhm.
touched on this in August, but area median income is based on the metropolitan statistical area. So it's not, you know, Channel District AMI or Tampa AMI, it's Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater. It's been going up about 5% compound annual growth rate the last 6-7 years. And now it's on here, it's
Yeah.
$98,400. So that is AMI based on a family of 4. That's where when you start going across these rows with how many people are in the household, that's where things can kind of change a little bit.
And what were the units? Were they mandated For how many bedrooms?
No, the city on the bonus density doesn't specify
So
that.
that
No,
could
they
be studios.
Could
Correct.
be, yeah, it's just, it's got to be a constant carry of 10%. And there's like a, reporting requirement, pre-clearance of tenant incomes, things like that.
So no.
And Taylor, I wanted you to actually emphasize on that. You said it was a monitoring perspective, like there's monitoring that you have to comply with. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to put that out there that there's a land use restriction covenants that will be placed on these projects over the time that we have it. That's going to be the similar deal.
Yeah, I've dealt with that with a few projects,
Mhm.
including Gasworks right now. So it's a reported document that goes on title. So, it's going to be subject to,
This will be for 50 years.
yeah. So it's going to be, it's going to show up in title. It's going to be subject to cross default covenants and loan documents, equity participation agreements. As far as the monitoring, I had a little bit of work in kind of helping set up that process. I don't deal with it day to day anymore, but essentially the Gasworks leasing team sends tenant applications to the Housing and Community Development Department with the city. They confirm the bank statements, pay stubs, and then say, yeah, that's an eligible tenant. They've got the right to kind of walk in and inspect. There's an annual compliance reports that can get outsourced to third parties. It is a little bit unusual that the city does that themselves. I think the city might eventually, once the volume ramps up, have the Tampa Housing Authority do that because they're a little bit better equipped for that. But there is a process. And again, to me, real estate lawyer guy, I mean, the thing going on title, that's a big deal. That's
Mhm.
Maybe a piece I didn't hear, is there relative to a unit, let's say a one bedroom unit, is there a maximum number of people that can be residents in a one bedroom unit?
So there's not, by our standards is not, but there is,
the lease would prohibit it.
yeah.
That's a good question. Yeah, the lease, the government, I don't believe has a regulatory.
Well,
role in
on
that.
the Section 8 side. It
It
does.
does,
So
yeah.
when it goes to Tampa Housing Authority with the Section 8 and all the vouchers that are given for these,
Yeah.
subsidized housing, it could be only like 2 counts for 2 bedroom, 2 heartbeats per bedroom. That's what they count it
Yeah.
as. But we don't have the restriction of, it can only be 2 people who live in the studio.
Would you have the capability of doing that to limit or to state on the property how many residents based on the size of the unit could actually reside in that unit?
Yeah.
In your lease agreement would have that
typically
for
do
insurance.
lease
and
agreement. Yeah. I mean, it'll typically, it would be, 2 adults.
Okay.
2 people.
Yeah.
2 heartbeats.
Well, I had a list of questions.
Yeah. That's okay.
It's good. You can have 2.
But the next question is there any requirement that, what is y'all's plans once you get this built and stabilized? What are your plans for the future? Is it to sell it, to keep it for 50 years? What's the goal here? Or what is the requirement? What is the goal?
Well, the requirement is that, to Tyler's point, this commitment runs with the title and runs with the property. And to the extent that we ever did sell it, it would run. The new owner would have the same obligations, and that would need to be part of any purchase agreement. Our intention is to hold this for a long time. We believe in the growth of the Tampa market and Channel District. At some point, might we sell it? Sure. But our intention is to hold on to the project for extended periods.
And what other projects have you done, not Magellan yourself, regarding workforce housing to this magnitude?
So we have done projects at this price point with studio units in Kansas City, in St. Louis, and we have 2 under construction in Phoenix and Nashville that all have units in this price range. The largely studios in those projects, but we've done it in multiple markets.
And is it a subsidized project like this?
Some of them are and some of them aren't.
And if you didn't get this request, would this project not get built?
Getting this request is going to catalyze our starting construction on this project quicker. This is going to help us get going in the next 6 months.
And so in talking to different council members, the 30% that was done with across the board, when it happened to us, it was kind of a shock when this happened, because we asked where's the backup on it, because there's a different need in Channel Side than there is in East Tampa and West Tampa. They're all different. And 9 CRAs, they just said 30%. So I've talked to them and I said, would you reconsider allocating more for infrastructure and for parks that we want to buy land? And the answer has been very favorable. The answer is yes. So it's not like we're mandated on this 30% forever. That can be changed just with 4 votes. Okay. So I just want to put that out there. I'm very concerned about the compliance and monitoring. None of us are going to be around 50 years. Okay. And just knowing the way that sometimes government works, yeah, there'll be a deed restriction. They'll be in the title work, but that doesn't mean the new developer who's going to look at whether he's got 60 units at affordable. I mean, who really is going to be that proactive for 50 years? That's not, I can tell you this. If I had to make a bet, I'll bet all day long that it's like going to McDonald's is what I feel like this is, and ordering a Big Mac, French fries and a drink. And when I get to the window, I pay and only get French fries. That's how I would, to relate this, and you know, listen, this would be favorable going next to my property, but I don't look at things that way. I look at what's best for the city. I'm on the budget chairman, so I look at I spend volunteer a lot of money is going over the budget, and because I care a lot about the city. I'm born here, going to die here. Kids, thank God to come back, and the same. So I'm very concerned about that. We don't, we talk about the 7 million, but when you look at the present value and the future value of that 7.25, it is unbelievable when you even put a 7% on it. Because remember, you're not getting all the services on that year one. You're getting it stretched out for 50 years. Hopefully, I don't think it's going to happen, but let's say it does, and the compliance gets, which it's not. But when you look at the present value of that 7.2, even at a 7%, you're looking at close to $200 million. Okay. Are you aware of that? The present value and the future value of how big these numbers grow? Because we're
Correct.
front loading all this money up front.
We're not front loading it all up front. It's done.
Over what, 3 years?
Yeah, it's 3
Okay.
years and it's done through JAWS.
I
So it's
understand.
not- yeah.
But my point is that's based on a 50-year, 3 years is pretty front loaded. Okay.
Right about 193.
Well, that's as developers, that's your business. You're going to make money, but when you ask for public subsidy, then it becomes our business. Then we have an opinion on what you do. And I've talked to Abby Freely. She was saying that, well, I'll go into that after, but I'd like the rationale of having 120 AMI and asking for a subsidy for 125, which is $87,600. Okay. Then I go to an 80%, which personally, those are the people I really want to help. Okay. Growing up where I grew up in West Tampa, by the projects, and that's 58,450. The subsidy is 125. So how do you justify me giving, or the taxpayers giving y'all 125,000 for a 120 AMI when on a studio, the same item, the same bedroom count, I'm giving 125? That makes no sense. Can anybody just give me the rationale behind that?
So as I mentioned, so it can go higher based off of, I don't have the matrix.
No, I have
Pull
it.
out the matrix.
Yeah.
So it could go higher for the 80%.
There
So
was a reduction
80%
in the
can
suggested
go
incentive
up
to
to the
80%.
the 250 mark. So it was my suggestion to provide, due to their construction costs, 125 per unit for those. Again, that's why I started the conversation to say, if the comfortability of the 7.25 is not comfortable for the group, and based off of you analyzing the numbers, what will be a number that will be comfortable to build attainable housing in Channel?
I mean, I'd like to see
That's
this.
what, that, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to.
No,
block
you're
this.
asking, yeah.
I'm asking based off of what you're calculating, because this is all, like I said,
If I'm
this-
giving
the matrix
125,
is all construction costs. That's where we
No.
work collectively for just construction costs on building the units.
I mean,
Average
if we're really
per
looking at
99
helping
area.
people and we're gonna give 125, let's get more bang for the buck and go with the 80, that has to be mandated to 80%. Because I'm giving the same amount of money, why wouldn't I get more of more to help
More of
people?
the 80%.
Sure. But look at
Now,
it,
I
I'm
could-
giving,
But we're missing the starting. point.
Now,
The prior, the program suggested $250,000 per unit for the 80%.
nobody's got that. Nobody has got that. They made it very clear, they aren't giving.
Yeah,
The
they're
other
not.
side, the other side of the equation, we're giving up, we are reducing the rent for these units for 50 years from the market,
I understand.
which has a present value cost to us in excess of what we're getting. It's helpful to us to get dollars now in getting the project going. This is going to cost us significantly more than we're making from it over the 50 years.
Why are you doing it?
I just explained. Getting the dollars now is helpful.
So
It
7
reduces the
million.
total, it's meaningfully helpful in today's environment. Like everyone is a difficult capital markets environment. To get $7.25 million now
What's the
is
total
helpful
project?
to us.
Did you say how much?
$200 million.
200 million. So my point is, again, if the 125, if the taxpayers are giving 125, then that should be mandated that it's 80% if I'm giving the same amount, B, okay? By the way, the request, the item saying that you can go up to 250, council has made it, CRA has made it very clear, nobody's getting that, okay? They have been very vocal about it. You know, what I'd recommend, and after talking to Abby Freely, that there's a workshop that I attended that you did a great job on September 11th. There's a timeline back here that y'all put out,
Correct.
that there's going to be a workshop on November 13th.
I did all that.
Yeah. And then it showed the goals of what you're trying to achieve. It replaces a first come, first serve.
Correct.
It establishes a clear structured progress with timelines, enables evaluations aligned with our goals, and promotes equity and balance in decision making. Why are we even discussing this today?
Because
when
it
this is
came
in-
in as a first, because I'm obligated to hear the applications that came in the previous process, which was the first come, first served. That, by the way, the CRA board agreed with at the beginning. Then it became the developers coming, like, you know, asking for the full amount. Then it turned into a community discussion. Then it turned into, no, we have to draw it back. But to be fair to the developers who have already put in the work to submit an application at this level, I'm finishing out those developers who did. The only one from Channel is him. I got some in West Tampa I'm finishing out, over there in Central I'm finishing out, but this is the only one for Channel. So I have the obligation to move forward with those per the board direction. Finish up the ones that already came through until we now meet on November 13th, where I present all of the public feedback that's going to be coming from the public. You guys will get a survey soon. I'm finishing up the survey that Aries CAC, all the community needs to answer about this program. So that's the reason why you're hearing it now, because he was in the queue already prior to it being proposed to revamp. And again, I have money to spend. Again, we're always on the chopping block with Tallahassee for them to close down the CRAs, take our money, dismantle it all over the place. So that's why I'm saying let's at least get something done in Channel. So that's why I keep on emphasizing. If I'm looking at it, you're breaking down the numbers, you're the professional. I'm a professional too, but you're market. You're out here in the streets professional. What is being proposed, that dialogue of like, hey, let's have that conversation at that point of a counter. I countered with the 7,250 based off of the matrix. I did know that with the 120, they are losing some dollars based off of the rent that they could charge for those. I know that the need is 80%. they only, hey, maybe they could think about adding more 80% units to substitute the 120s and just do that. But he also added some at 100% AMI in that breakdown. But that was one of the reasons why they're in front of you again.
But again, we know that the whole program's changing. CRA is not mandated to make a decision on this.
No,
They can say, we're gonna wait till, because
correct.
I asked-
After this recommendation, if that's what you say, like, hey, you know, whatever recommendation, we're entitled to move them up to the board. And once they present to the board, it's yea or nay or whatever the board's decision at that time.
because, I mean, I'm looking at this timeline and we're making decisions when the process is the whole program's being revamped.
Like I mentioned, there's some CRAs that already made
But they're a
decisions.
lot smaller too.
Correct.
I mean, I looked at them,
Correct. Well, the budget is smaller.
yeah,
You guys have a larger budget. I wish I had your budget in the east side.
yeah. I mean, I looked at the,
Percentage wise, for the other CRAs, are we in the same ballpark with the other CRAs, even though their budgets aren't that big? I mean, you can say pretty close.
I can't really compare. I mean, based off of one
Anything,
project.
anything out of the ordinary.
West Tampa, the ASCRAT and the Q, let's say,
Yeah,
is 750. Does that give you 750 versus 7.2?
and those are single family
Didn't
homes.
LP&D go?
Those are single family homes. Then in our largest ask in the east side is 9.7 million.
Okay, that's it.
That's the largest.
You're always gonna be a bigger ask, and bigger
Yeah.
cities, because the
Yeah,
density.
exactly. That's right. I've only been here.
No.
I came down from Jacksonville. Couple of things here. Construction costs constantly. Take that into consideration. I built office buildings in the early 2000s for $165 a foot, or $300,000 a foot. There's a strong shortage of workforce housing. So I think we need to get rid of the term affordable housing because there's no such thing as a 200 people apartment complex.
I call it attainable housing.
Pardon me?
I call it attainable housing.
There was another point. On construction costs, in 2004, I built a pool in Jacksonville for $40,000. I think today it had to be demolished because I had a break in seawall. It's $262,000 to stand. Give you an idea of what we do in Fort here to build a bulkhead in a wharf. It's $45,000 a million. We just expanded 500 feet of Fort Hood for $20 million. So I think we all need to look at this as we go through this process right now, because when we're talking about this project on down the road, the construction costs are going to go up. They don't come down. I mean,
Labor's going down right now.
yeah.
Labor's going down.
They may go down just a
Yeah.
little bit as the markets get better, but they never come back to the levels they were.
Yeah, tariffs aren't helping. And yeah, and look, we totally respect all the questions that are being asked and appreciate the magnitude of the ask and the scale of the dollars. We need clarity.
Yeah.
It's a $200 million project. We have more than $20 million into this project already. We are going to move forward with this project. We wanted to include, we like this program. We were aware of its existence. We found a way to qualify, and there's a benefit to us in doing it. It allows us to move faster. We also, and it's part of our model across the country, we like to build attainable housing. And so, there is a synergy for us in fitting into this program, but we can't, this is, we're now 3 months into this. We need to move forward one way or the other. And it'll be, if we can't move forward in a way that works for everybody, that's fine. We just are not going to be able to participate in the program.
But we have 40 units currently.
Yeah, the project has 40 units currently.
And it ends.
Yeah, so.
I would feel more comfortable if we had more 80%.
Yeah.
Because I think what we're going for, when we're talking about a workforce, are those who are service industry, anything else that can help the area. So it just seems, studios are small. And also on this project, are you distributed throughout the building evenly, or are you going to floor these?
I know they're distributed. Other than the top 4 floors of the building are fenced, but otherwise it's here distributed across
And I don't know exactly what that does to your numbers, but I would feel, we're gonna make it affordable, let's really make it attainable, let's really make it attainable. Because I don't know many people who are in the service industry that are at 120 making 87.6 for a studio.
That's, that's the person I want to help, that person that works at that
Or
restaurant.
the cruise line or something.
Housekeeping.
The challenge is the 80% units cost us the most, and you start eroding the benefit in a way that is problematic. Could we, this is, it's a little unusual format to try to negotiate like this. I mean, could we move a few around? Could we go from 15 to 20 or so of the studios at 80% of AMI? I think so. I think otherwise we start.
But at the same time, if you're getting 7.25, or say you get 5, either way, that's, as being said, it's money up that you can draw off of up front. It's not gonna cost you more down the road, so.
The rent's, the issue we have is that we have investors and we have lenders, right? And they look out, what is the cost to you of limiting the pricing on your units this way? And what is the cost to you? And also, again, it's a $200 million project. Our lender, like these are big institutions. We are going, there isn't going to be a deed restriction. We are going to have covenants in our loan agreements that we have to comply. We are going to comply. Our successors are going to comply, but that costs money. There are challenges in terms of you're not actually able to rent in the normal way that you rent, right? You have to check incomes. There's a reporting process. All of those things to our investors and to our lenders have costs to them. And there's just a breaking point where the benefit will no longer exceed the cost.
Tyler, can you default them if they don't?
Yeah, I mean, the city can enjoin, I mean, that's what the agreement would, so yeah, I mean, the city can get injunctive relief, things like that. I mean, one observation I would make is that 50 years is a long time. I think that's been said in a few contexts. It's not necessarily the case that area median income is going to continue to go up 5% every year. I mean, it's very possible that, hopefully this isn't the case because Tampa's still thriving, but I mean, it's very possible that come year 19, the cost to keep some of those units at 80% or 120% could increase. I don't want to speculate what things are like in year 19. That's a long way away, but this is an unusually long commitment for a deal that isn't receiving like LIHTC funding. I mean, there's definitely some risk, I think, that's being asked of you all to take, but I mean, it's not without risk on the developer side as well. But 50 years is a very long commitment. Yeah, and those are for like 60% AMI. I mean, that's for the deep subsidization that's required to have that gap between the market and what you can charge.
I'll move the gavel and this way we get off the dime on this thing and then we can just kick it around. We go to a maximum of 4 million because I don't want to see 70% of what we have going to one project, knowing that there's other possibilities. And even though we have an income stream in the future, it's current money that we have, and that the 120 that's here, the 22 get divided in half of 100 and half in 80, and this way we're helping that cook, we're helping that housekeeper, we're helping the people that work at the aquarium. So it would go to the 120, the 22 units that would get allocated. And when you do the math, but percentage wise, then you can do it percentage wise. But my point is the 120 would go, those units, half would go to 100 and half would go to 80%. At a maximum of $4 million.
If they're gonna do that,
What was the original answer?
I mean, we don't have any.
The original answer is 13.5.
Yeah, we went from 13.5 down to 7.5.
Take into consideration too. Right. Yeah, this ask right now is 55%.
Yeah, but original, you can ask for anything.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Negotiations, you start here,
Sure.
you can only go down, you can't go up. So I don't put much weight on that. Steve made a recommendation of maybe going to 5 million. I'll support that, a friendly amendment. And, so 5 million maximum with, the 120, AMI going into, half it going into 100, half going to 80%.
So eliminating 120 and 140.
You're talking about the 22 studios?
We're mainly concerned about
Yeah,
the
so
120 on
No,
the
no.
studio,
So
the 22, the 22
divide the
studios.
120.
Yeah,
Okay.
just do a pro rata share,
Okay.
you know, based on what we're saying, just do
Mhm.
it based on pro rata.
Mhm.
And those 22, whatever the pro rata is, there would be no more 120.
Okay.
Okay?
So the 140 is the only level, I'm not mistaken, I think it's 2 bedrooms. So I'm thinking of, what about a parent and a child who require 2 bedrooms to live in this area?
Well, I think he's still proposing to keep the
I am proposing. to
the
keep it.
140. So he's still proposing to keep the
Yeah, I'm
140.
I'm saying
He's
keep
just
it.
saying eliminate the
And
120.
that gives that 3 people a 131, $460 household income. So, so I take your friendly amendment. I guess you got a second. Any other discussion?
Yeah, just
Oh,
quick
wait, actually,
discussion.
you're,
Yeah, no, it's just, just my request was to, for the next meeting or when you can get it, is to really understand what is a target for us for the channel district,
Okay.
number of units.
Okay.
The other thing is the second part, I think you're hearing, there's concern with the confidence level of staff to properly manage this all the way through for an extended period of time. And I'd love to understand how you could build our confidence level in knowing that the checks and balances are going to be in place to make sure that happens.
Okay.
Because
Maybe
like,
just have someone from housing come. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
So it's not just on you. Just-
Yeah, no,
Right.
I can see from
Convey-
housing.
yeah. So that, so
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah.
Part of it, there's
I
an
learned a lot, too.
agreement.
Yeah.
to follow up on the chain of title, what's 30 years?
Well, if it's a government restriction, MRTA doesn't defeat it. So it would be permanent on title.
So it would-
If it's a private restriction, you can use the Marketable Record Title Act to, as like a magic wand on weird old title stuff, but not on government restrictions. I've tried that in other circumstances. Yeah, this would be.
That I
this is
can
a
bring
government
that info and then try to get a housing person here. If not, I
I'll
can
send you the
translate the
names
same.
of who I deal with. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do with. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
signify by,
Yeah.
any other discussion? I think we beat it pretty,
Mhm.
you know, and again, do you understand? Be no more 120
Correct.
and
It will, those will be divided amongst the 100 and the 80%.
correct.
Can we counter propose to that? Cause that's. I mean,
Well, listen, I got a motion on the floor, so.
They have to
But
finish
if it
their
doesn't
motion.
work, like.
Well, then that's your decision after, but we have a motion on the floor, so let's vote and signify by saying aye.
You don't want feedback from me as to a slight modification?
We
that
can
could
do it
work for
after.
us?
I think they have to let the motion go and then give the feedback. And then we'll move on from there, because again, you always can go in
Robert's
front of the
rules of order.
CRA board. You always have the opportunity to go in front of the board.
Okay.
So signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any notes? Okay, so that's where we're at today, 5 million. And we're going to see more going towards that cook, that household, that how, housekeeping. And
So
then see where,
what I think we could do is take the 22 at 120% of AMI, allocate 7 of them to 80% and 15 to 100%. So we're evenly split between 80 and 100%.
Nick, I was gonna go all 80% because that's really the person I want to help. And that's where I was gonna go. So I compromised by saying half and half. And now this will go on up forever. I mean, there was a vote and go from there.
We're good to go to the CRA board.
Yeah, we're good to go. I will say that October, we don't have a meeting. November 13th is the whole house, it's the commercial and the housing discussion. please, if you want, someone attend to kind of know
I'll be
what,
there.
I'm always saying
Sure.
attend and feel what they're saying, because they're the ones that say yes or no. And then it looks like December.
For this?
Yeah, for this.
Okay, so November's full, so December.
Yeah, November's full,
Okay.
so December. And yeah, I have, just for your sake, just for your peace of mind, Nick, I have conversations with the board members prior to the meeting. So if they do ask me original ask, and I give all the information to them prior to, but I know they are fixated on the 80% AMI, helping those individuals. That's been the topic of conversation. Actually, 80%, yeah, 80% and below. But, okay.
And Nick could talk to them, right? This is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, he could talk to, he's the one that I will present and say that you will present to the
Okay.
board.
So you'll get us those new ratios. So we can work
Yes,
together. Tyler,
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
The next one's a little easier, guys. Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, yeah, we got.
Yeah.
Central.
That's all.
Like the 120, that doesn't help.
Yes. All right.
So we don't build on the property. It was very clear.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was the first concept versus the second.
No, but even on the second one, they were still insisting that they own that property. It's not their property.
It's like,
He punished the hardscape.
Yeah.
In the small.
I mean, that is not. their
Well, but that was what was up. That should have been shown.
property. Here, they're showing this as green.
That other portion.
yes, the first.
Well,
But even if you go to the second one, this is mine. This is not green area.
Yeah, but
this, just this.
What he should have done was had this arrow up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't write this into here.
Or just say not included.
Yeah, exactly.
Say not included.
That's your presentation.
And the first, like I said, first conception was.
Are you still with us?
I feel good about it.
Yeah, oh, it's a very.
Here's a comment though, like from the Chandler district perspective. I think having a sidewalk that goes from 12 to Channel Side Drive.
Heather, can you hear us?
Official, especially for the development
I've lost
company.
that.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I'm just loading your presentation.
Underneath.
Someone give it B20.
And
That's just our latest.
Unless you wanted to share your screen and
Mark?
drive it from,
That's our latest.
share my screen. That'll be easier, I think. Hold on a second.
Something here, I want to elaborate a little bit on the cruises. This,
Can we do this? Because there's people,
No, no.
I just don't, out of respect, out of this time. Yeah. But I want to hear it, okay?
Yes.
Please, I want to hear it, but I just out of respect of their time. We will go into, streetcar annual update.
One sec. I'm trying to get this to work. Okay.
In your packet as well, though, if you want to follow there.
Tell you what, since you're on Zoom, is it
Yeah.
on there?
It's on there.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, my name's Heather Sobush. I am the new-ish Director of Planning and Scheduling at Hart. And we have, I believe, President Michael English is online maybe still, and then Brian Allen. But we just wanted to give you our annual update about the streetcar. Thank you all, of course, for your support of the streetcar with some funding. So these are just a few highlights, but I'll go through these in more detail. So our ridership has been very strong. And I just pulled the numbers today and we're on track to be about 1.34 million for fiscal year 25. So we're about 1.2 something through the month of August. September numbers haven't been verified yet. And so we are currently experiencing the highest ridership we've had in 22 years, breaking monthly ridership records year over year. And then even with the hurricanes last year and, some delay, some service not being provided because of that, we're still seeing the growth. So back about a year ago, we came to you all asking for additional funding because a grant from the DOT that helped to pay for the free fares was expiring. So we did do an outreach campaign last November, and we hosted some engagement sessions along the corridor. And then through, you'll see this other places that we allow people to submit comments about the fares. And then these are a bunch of places that are channels that we utilize to get out information about the survey and also just to get out information about the streetcar. And then from the survey, we heard a strong feedback to keep the streetcar line fare free. Some of the concerns about bringing back fares is that it would harm some local businesses because the streetcar encourages people to explore downtown in Ybor. Impact on traffic, that less people riding would cause more traffic. Reduction in ridership, which is typical if you do bring a fare back. And then the other part of the discussion was that if we were to bring fares back, to somehow offer discounts to residents. So we continue to support some of Tampa's and Ybor's biggest events. So Gasparilla was huge ridership, New Year's Eve, and then the 4th of July event. We've also served the Women's Volleyball Championship, Riverfest, the Santiago Night Parade, and more. And so last year, this year, I guess, last November, the streetcar returned for its 8th season, and it actually just kicked off, I think, about a week ago. So it's back again this year. And then that's, in partnership with the Gasparilla Music Festival. So it's been a great partnership. We're continuing the Winter Village Express that people enjoy with the decorated trolley streetcar. And then we've also received some new advertising sponsors in FY24. So Florida Aquarium sponsor Station 7, Hat Trick Station 11, and then we have some major advertisers, which you'll see on the wraps of the streetcars, Tampa Bay Lightning, Rays, and Orlando Health. So we hope to continue those partnerships. And this is just some of the positive media coverage that's been received over the year. And then our budget, what you'll see here is that we are, our FY26 budget is a little lower than fiscal year 25. And that's because we are not having 5th car service, which we had in there and the city helped pay for. But we found that we didn't really need that extra service. So the budget's slightly lower. And that is all for my update. Sorry, I was trying to keep it super quick because I know the last presentation went long. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
What was fiscal year 24's ridership?
It was 1.3 million, 1.33, and we're on track right now to be slightly above that, about 1.34 million.
I've got a question on, were you finished, Ed? Okay. I'd like to go to the operating budget page, please.
Mhm.
And under the 2 line items up on top with the advertising THS and advertising HART. THS stands for what, first of all?
Tampa Historic Streetcar.
Okay, so, and then the HART portion of it is what? The HART.
Is Brian in the room? I can't see really well. Sorry, I'm homesick. That's why I'm not there in person. I believe some is the advertising at the stations and some is advertising on the wraps, but I'm not, I'd have to get back with you on the distinction between the two.
Okay, I got it. The question lies with, at the last time we had got a chance to get together, one of the strong suggestions was to questioning why your advertising revenue isn't greater than what it currently is. And suggestions were to reach out, what you just got done mentioning, that you've had additional people come to the party to support advertising vehicles there. But when you look at these numbers, I'm confused with why, like with the HART portion, it's 252,000 in 24. You now are only expecting 115,000 revenue from that. And then the same thing when you do the other one, you had 42,000 and you're only expecting 3,400. I'm definitely confused. If your ridership is up as much as you're talking about, I gotta believe you're not asking enough money from your advertisers, or somebody's not doing the best of job in that area. Do you have any comments for that?
I did not, and Frank, our marketing director, was not able to be here today, but I can get with him and then we can get a response out to you through Courtney, tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys do a great job and it's a fabulous service. We're so happy to be able to even support you on this. But it is an area of request that I'm confused with why there isn't more revenue being brought in from outside to support it. And again, with what we're hearing from the port and their growing area of this and even bigger things coming, this should be a stronger area in your selling point to try and get more revenue coming in that area.
Okay, I'll definitely bring those comments back and I'll get you a response to that as well.
Yeah, in all fairness, you're new, right?
Yeah.
And that was, you got a great memory. That was our big, we felt like there was some really opportunities there that aren't being maximized. And as you heard, there's more ridership. I mean, more people coming down here. So I think the advertising, are y'all doing that in-house or y'all hiring that out?
I believe we have a vendor that helps to get the bus, or at least the streetcar wraps. I believe the station advertising is done in-house, but I can again double check that. I'm not in the marketing team, so I don't know all these answers, but I'm happy to find out. And I know we are kicking around some other ideas, like maybe some merchandising or some donations, but nothing's been solidified. But we're definitely looking at various ideas to get more revenue.
Yeah, because I mean, we're all on board with promoting the free service. That doesn't mean there's an open checkbook when there's opportunities, when we see advertising and based on last year when we complained, I have seen no improvement there. So as you can tell, we're really focusing on that.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
And I'd like to thank Michael English for his many years of service. He's been fantastic being on this board for so long. So please relay to him. But anyway, I think it should be free. But maximize this advertising because y'all really are leaving a lot of money on the table there.
Okay, great. I'll bring that back. And yes, thank you all for your support over the years as well. It's been really a great partnership with the 3 CRAs, or I guess 4 CRAs that are along the streetcar line.
Thank you very much. And you have a nice day. I think I have John.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
So we got one more question. Yeah, one more question.
Okay.
Really, as a resident, really enjoy using the streetcar, especially when it's free. I did have a question though around the integration of the streetscape, as far not the core or anything, but how it interacts with the crosswalks and traffic. So, for example, like York Street, especially when there's 3 cruises, like it is a mess trying to get the trolley through because the drivers, and there's these do not turn when the trolley's there, but they last forever. So people have them. Like once the trolley passes, that should turn off. I think that's a problem. I see that all the time. But also, when you go to walk, when the trolley passes, it automatically cycles through. You can't the crosswalk. You can't cross the Channel Side Drive, and you actually go through 2 sets of greens and reds before the crosswalk goes live for you, just because the trolley passed you. And I think that needs to be ability.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask, what was the first street you mentioned? I'll take notes and I'll bring back these questions.
So right now, York Street, where you have the driving entrance to the Carnival Cruise Terminal. There's been a lot of improvements.
Okay.
But there's a lot of traffic and the trolley's trying to get through and they blast their horn, yet cars are stuck on top of the tracks. There used to be a sign, I can still see it. It's laying down on the median. It says, no turn when the trolley's there. We have the lighted sign, but people ignore it because once the trolley passes, it stays on for a good another 30 seconds. And that needs to as soon as you pass, just turn off. I'll let the person turn right. You know, like these little things I think would help some because people ignore it. And then I think that's going to become more of an issue once you start to develop on the K Street, same type of
thing happened to
situation.
Kennedy when I
Yeah.
exited here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it skips me.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah. And it skips the crosswalk, the people that are walking too, because I walk and I want to cross from the port side to the other side, Council Center. If the trolley happened to go by, you skip the crosswalk.
Okay.
So I think improvements from a residential perspective would be very helpful.
Okay, I'll definitely bring back those comments.
Thank you.
Any other? Okay, thank you very much and have a nice evening.
Thank you, you too.
Look forward to meeting you in person next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey, so Tampa, wow. Come on, Preston. Y'all want to just, y'all feel comfortable? Jim's still here?
No, Jim had to leave.
Okay.
He's had some holiday events, so you just got me and the aquarium folks, a few other folks here to support. Do you mind if I stand?
No,
go ahead.
I just, it's when I'm
wherever you
standing,
feel
I'd rather just
comfortable.
stand and face you guys. So I'm assuming I can just click the arrow. No, it's okay. Great. So first I want to thank you guys for having us here today. Appreciate your time. Before I get started, I want to let all of you guys know that this big shiner on my eye has no really cool story. My dermatologist just lopped off something and it turned into a shiner. I thought I would have a wow story for you, but the wow story is going to be this. We're going to be talking about the wheel, which is Tampa's Wheel Over Water. We're very excited to talk to you about the project here. I'm going to keep my comments pretty brief. I'm just going to go over really the value proposition and really some of the details around the wheel. And I want to answer the questions you guys have because I'm sure you probably do. So, gosh, we can't really see it on here as well, but we created some really cool renderings to give you a good sense of, and you've got it there in front of you, give you a good sense of what this wheel is really going to look like. And we see this as being an iconic landmark that we're going to bring to the downtown area. We think there's going to be really epic views from 250 feet tall. So it's a sizable wheel and you're going to be able to see a lot of downtown and the waterways. And we think it's going to be really beneficial for both locals that live here, as well as for our tourists and guests that come in. So in terms of joining other world-class cities, there are cities around the world. It started with the London Eye, but you see these observation wheels in Paris. They're all over Europe. They're in some of the big iconic cities here in the US. And one of the most common themes that you see is that most of the ones, especially the successful ones, they're in an urban area where there's a lot of density and they're around water. Chicago, Seattle. I mean, I could go through almost everything on that list has those kind of same common traits. So we saw downtown Tampa as entering that list of world-class cities that deserves to have an attraction of this magnitude. And there's three value propositions I want to hit on today. The first is we are not asking for any CRA funding. So hopefully that right there will start us off in a little bit better place. This is a $20 million private investment that we're going to make. It's a sizable investment. And I would argue that most developers who are going to do a $20 million investment in what would be considered a public use asset, where the entire public is going to have access to this, they would likely be asking for some financial support. We want to make this process smooth. We're not doing that. And in fact, we've entered into an agreement with the city where they will be doing some revenue sharing. And so we will be putting money back into the city coffers as opposed to asking them to take money out. So that's value prop number one. Number two is we think this is really ideal for families. And I know that there's been some questions about location, and I'll get to that in a minute. But one of the things when we were looking around and we saw the aquarium and where the location is by the aquarium's demo is our demo. It's a lot of families. It's a lot of people that have kids. And the kids don't get up in the towers. Like we've all probably had an opportunity to get up in one of the towers and see the views, and they're spectacular. The families and kids don't always get to do that. So it is a family attraction first and foremost. And I think having something downtown that's another activation for our families is important. So having that access to the aquarium, being able to share that audience, I think is an important component for what we're providing the downtown area. The other thing is we're supporting our other downtown assets. And so we think that we're really adding value. You've heard Santiago, I hope, talk about this in terms of the convention center being able to support the conventions that he's bringing in. His comment is, we try to bring conventions in. Those visitors want something to do, and to be able to come and look at the city from that perspective is a pretty nice sell for them. And it helps them resell people that have already come, and they call and they say, well, what's new? What's happening that we can do now? So from the convention center over to the arena, there's all kinds of events that are happening. And one of the things that I think is really important to understand is we're not probably adding any new traffic downtown. The downtown partnership just had their luncheon last week, and they reported 30.1 million people come into downtown on an annual basis. About 8, I think, million of them were out of towners. About 22 million-ish are people that live here locally. Those people are already coming down here. So what we're doing is really just extending the stay, that dwell time, giving them something else to do. That is the arena there, concerts, hockey games, all that kind of stuff. We've already talked about the Florida Aquarium. Again, it's an opportunity to extend that experience for aquarium goers. Water Street, again, people just extending the stay. And then also the cruise lines and soccer. Soccer's not here yet, but that's something that's going to be happening. There's going to be a stadium one way or another. And so that's more people that are going to be coming down here. So again, just providing additional experience and more value when they're down here. Specific to cruise lines, we are going to put in some storage lockers so that the cruise guests that come down, and this is something that we just decided to do here recently because we were down on a Sunday and it was chock full of cruise people. I think there's 3 or 4 cruise lines in port. All these people were coming down and they were there early and they were just sitting on their luggage. And they couldn't really activate downtown because they were just sitting on their luggage. They don't want to drag that luggage into a restaurant, things like that. So we thought, what if we put some lockers out there and they could store that, and then they could go and they can experience a lot more of the downtown area. It's better experience before they get on the ship. They're not just sitting out in the hot, sitting on their luggage with nothing to do. So again, that's just adding value to the stakeholders that are already downtown. Here are the details. It's 250 feet tall, panoramic views. You can see, if you're looking there, that's actually the wheel. We're purchasing a wheel from Munich. It's already in existence. It's pretty new. Our team just went over and inspected it last week. It looks phenomenal. It's a brand new wheel. So it's an all glass enclosure. It's going to have tinted windows. It's climate controlled. It seats up to 10 to 15 people, and you can look at all different views around the city. You're going to be able to see some spectacular views, I think, of all the waterways, Davis Island, Harbor Island, all those kind of things. 20 to 30 minute rides on average. About $20 an adult, $15 for kids. There's a deck that we can do bar and small bites. Hours are 10 to 10, maybe up to midnight on weekends. The guys who just got back and did the wheel, they said it's whisper quiet. That was literally how they described it. So there's not going to be any noise pollution from this. Everybody's going to be condensed in the gondola. And the lighting is really going to be primarily uplighting on the wheel. It's landscape lighting for the landscaping that we'll be doing as well as for the wheel. So we don't think there's going to be light pollution as well. We do have the ability to turn lights on the spokes, but we can dim those up, we can dim them down, we can turn them off. So, and the final thing is it's fully hurricane rated, meets FEMA standards. So, and there's an action plan to pull all those gondolas off if a hurricane's rolling through and it's sizable. Pull the gondolas off and store them off-site, so it's fully safe. Again, this isn't the first rodeo for the guys that are behind this project. Done the Miami one, done ones in hurricane alleys and things like that. So, so those are the details. I want to be quick. And by the way, that's a night rendering. I think it does a nice job of showing what the lighting would be like on the wheel. So, so that's it. I wanted to keep my comments pretty short so that I have an opportunity to answer questions. And
I'll start out and just ask one
Yeah, go
question.
ahead.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And have you done this, has this been your career?
no, it's not. So I've been in Tampa for a long time. I've been a business person here for a long time in Tampa. My background is I had a branding and marketing agency called Spark. It's still in existence. So some people might know if you go down Platte, you'll see it kind of on the left-hand side, right as you get to Howard. A lot of our clients were visit Florida, visit Tampa Bay, a lot of hospitality, travel-related clients. I got very focused on guest experience. It's something that's a passion of mine. And so I have 2 development projects that I'm working on, and they're both around this idea of creating guest experiences. So I'm not a developer by trade, but I've been in town for a long time. I've done a lot of different types of business.
It doesn't hurt you.
What's that?
It doesn't hurt you.
Right. And I don't come at it from a developer's perspective. I actually am much more of an operator mindset. I really get into this part's the tough part. I get a lot more into let's get it up and now let's operate it. Let's create these really fantastic guest experiences. So, I get connected with the guys at a hockey game actually, and so we met and I said, well, I think we can help each other, and I love the project, so I got involved about a year ago.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I've got about, to my committee members here, I got about 10 different things I picked up from social media, if you don't mind asking. A lot of these, first of all, this isn't a negative, and it's not all really addressed to you. Some of these comments really need to be addressed to the city and their involvement. So I'm trying to be respectful here.
Sure.
Okay. First one, the property you're buying, are you leasing it or purchasing?
It's a lease.
Okay, and it's a lease, I guess I was hearing earlier today,
Yep.
through the aquarium?
Correct.
Okay. Since we hit the aquarium, and I know the aquarium folks are here, I believe you do also offer luggage stocking at your facility too. So just so you're aware of it, that is currently available. I don't know if you have to require, if you could comment on that?
And we're happy to work in tandem with that.
Okay, so at least you're aware of that piece.
Yep.
In taking up the space it is, which is a parking area currently, from what I could see from the rendering and marking it off, I believe you're taking up about 50 parking spaces, of which a lot of those are handicap parking that's there. So is that an accurate number? The spaces that are currently not going to be taken directly on the other side of the wheel, you're still planning to have parking there?
Yes, and we will move the disabled parking over. And so we've reallocated that parking because it's typically 2 spots for instead of, it's almost double the size of a normal parking spot. So in our site plan, we've moved those spots to the southern. So if we're here, we've just moved them right here. It's right in the same area, and we've reallocated the space. So the spots that we're actually taking up are inclusive of moving those over. So that's a total number.
Just so you know, from a parking standpoint, the city in the past, at least to us, and a lot of responses, because we've targeted and asked the city for that space over there in the past to be turned into green space, more so than parking. And I would challenge the city, this isn't to you, this is city, that they consider with its opportunity to, because you need to develop an infrastructure around this type of activity, that parks and that be one of the stronger area. If you're willing to give up parking, then convert that to potentially green space. The other question I would be asking the city is the port parking garage, which is basically a 4-story building. Does it have the capability of going upward and allowing more? I understand you said you're not expecting really an increase in parking, but I can tell you there's going to be more activity coming. And I respect what you're saying, but there is going to be more traffic coming down there. Another area that the city has got to address is directly across from where you are. If you're going northbound on Channel side, it is 35 miles an hour from there. On the directly opposite side going southbound, it's 25 miles an hour, which doesn't make much sense. The problem difference between you and what I see for Navy Pier in Chicago is that there is an infrastructure around Navy Pier and a lot of different things for people to go. The question is, what are people going to do other than going to ride? I know you said the aquarium, whatever. There's going to be more pedestrian type of activities. So from a mobility standpoint, the city has got to be very cautious there. Is it a possibility that they consider to put speed bumps in Channel Side going from there, going southbound and northbound coming in? And again, this is a lot of social media type of concerns there. So people do view this as a potentially dangerous type of thing, because since you don't have the infrastructure, you're pretty much right on Channel Side. You can have all, as I'll call it, the looky-loos are going to be driving their car. They're going to be looking up there. The potential for accidents, I picture, is going to be increased on that. So we've got mobility has got to find a way to manage that better. So I cover the parking garage and the speed bumps here. Parks and Rec already. One issue has come up with this Channel District is a residential area. We are not really the main heart of the entertainment type of thing. So there are a lot of residents that are concerned that people on a 20 to 30-minute gondola ride, that they're going to be able to look directly into people's units and see what's there. I don't know you've sort of answered the privacy element up there, but it is a concern and probably will surface in future meetings by people on that. So at least you're aware of that. One of the questions has come up, or a suggestion of social media, was you've covered a location. Was Armature Works ever discussed as a location to put this at?
Yes, so I think I've seen all the comments online, and I think that one of the probably misconceptions is that we just have our pick of, we can just drop this wheel wherever we want. People say, why don't you put it here and why don't you put it there? Armature Works is a good example of that. We spent many, many months exploring properties downtown, Armature Works, going out to St. Pete. We're looking at the demographics of these things. So this wasn't something where we had a lot of options, candidly. Armature Works, there wasn't really opportunities to place the wheel in a spot that would work. Two, we didn't think that we had support from the folks that we would need in order to be able to get that property under control. Three, when we look at this being a successful endeavor, the ones that do well and the ones that are profitable and are going to be able to stick around have to be within a walkable distance of a lot of people. And Armature Works, while they get a fair amount of people, it's not, the density isn't nearly enough. You just heard about we've got about over 1.1 million going into the aquarium. You've got north of 1 million people that go into the arena. You've got, I think, over 1 million people that are coming in through the convention center. The trolley stop is 1.3 million ridership. These are density numbers that we need in order to get the number of ridership that we're going to be looking for, which is about 500,000. So we've got to make the math work, but we also have to get the sites. I was very open to other sites. I will say, I think that this site is fantastic. I was very happy that the aquarium agreed with us on this and saw the same things. So we don't just have the ability to say, hey, we're just going to put this wheel here, we're going to put it there. But again, I don't want that to sound like, I think it's a fantastic location. So Armature Works just was not going to work as well. And I think a lot of those other issues you had mentioned, those are city issues and those are very solvable issues. I think that to your point, it's a mobility issue. They can slow things down there. And I think that, you could say the same thing if people say, you're going to have a wheel and people going up and down that. Well, if we put a building there, people can be looking out the building. If you get new residents, everybody who's in a tower can look at everybody else. So I think those are, I understand those questions. I think the ones that we're talking about so far are very solvable ones, particularly the mobility ones.
Right.
Yeah.
I would concur. Okay. So the privacy one is, I get it, and I believe you're doing it. I think the concern, which is new information I saw tonight, which is your 10 to 10 possible hours and maybe going to midnight on weekends. Currently, that channel side road, when you get to 9 o'clock at night, strange as it might be, is a dead zone. There is nothing that's going on by that time. So obviously, you're going to be increasing the amount that those residents are now going to be experiencing that they currently don't go through that now. I know this gentleman over here, John, you faced that. Do you concur with that? Yeah.
I think that my only pushback on that would be if it's a dead zone, then we're not going to be increasing that. And we might change our hours. If we find that, hey, at 9 o'clock, everything shuts down and it doesn't make sense to stay open, because again, and I'm not saying that this from just speculation. The group that I am working with have done 8 wheels around the country. They know the business well. We're not bringing new people. People aren't coming downtown and saying, hey, we're going to come downtown at 9 o'clock at night to ride the wheel, and then we're going to go home. They're either down there already and they're going to add it to their trip, or they're not. So I don't think we're going to be increasing a lot of nighttime traffic for people that are deciding to stay down there who aren't otherwise already going to be down there.
I think while it's quiet now, like there are nights when the games are getting out, 10 o'clock probably, somebody after the game might want to get that on their way home.
Yeah.
As they're taking the trolley
Yeah,
out. So
that's a good point.
but that's not every night.
Yeah, I think one of the requests will also from resident standpoint is look to the city increasing police presence in the area. Because we have, as most of the city right now, has noise pollution issues, and to try and find a way to improve that. And I think potentially more of their presence in that area, because we do expect more traffic to be involved. That would be a beneficial.
And I think it would attract the noise pollution we get on that street, because I live on Channelside Drive, is the people that have to rev their cars and blast their music, and that can be very annoying. And I can see where something like this would attract people to.
It's not gonna change, but they're gonna come either way.
They're gonna come either way.
It's irrelevant to
Yes,
this.
right. That's true.
But
But I think it has to do with the mobility things you were saying. It had to increase police presence and slowing with like some things down, that could help.
well, maybe it's another bullet to help get police to come down here. a little bit
Yes.
more, So.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
First, beautiful rendering.
you.
On the aesthetics, I just got back from downtown Seattle,
Mhm.
and they changed the color of their wheel a lot based on what's going on. And
Yep.
I love looking out over downtown, seeing City Hall light up and all the different buildings. Do you anticipate the ability to change out color schemes, or do you see it being a very nice white?
Yes, it'll be a very nice white to start. And we are going to look to probably upgrade that at some point. We're going to want to see how that goes. But we want to be able to do what the other downtown buildings do, put up the Lightning logo during playoff games, things like that. I mean, one of the things that you'll see, you mentioned Seattle, every time they show Monday Night Football, every time they show any kind of game, they always do a pano of the skyline, and it's always front and center. And almost every city that has one, it gets included in there. And so I think it adds to that for us as well. And so we want to be supportive in terms of the downtown community. And I think that's one of the important things to note is that we're taking very community oriented focus here. We want to be good community partners down here. We want to work with the community. And because again, we're looking to add value. We're obviously looking to make money on the deal, but we're looking to add value in terms of, and these are all of our customers that are going to be down here. So we're not looking to create problems where the people live down here or the businesses that are down here.
The color and the community product.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, what's the construction timeline?
So we should have this up within a year because we are basically purchasing it. And I think one of the things that is important to note is that we are under a bit of a time crunch here because the wheel has been for sale. They basically put it up in Munich and that's how they market it. There's not a lot of people just coming off the street and buying these $20 million wheels. And our group has rights to that, but those rights don't last forever because there are other people now that want to buy the wheel and want to buy it for more than what we've got for it. So that seller is not going to give us a lot of leeway on this. But the ability to disassemble it, refurbish it, ship it, and put it up, it's going to take about a year. So we could have this done by about October of next year. It cost us $20 million and takes a year to put up. If we had to stop and build one, it would be $30 million. So an extra 10 million, it would take 2 years to get done. So it's important that we move expeditiously because we have an opportunity that's pretty unique. And it allowed us to actually be able to do a revenue share with the city to make that, because we were able to, financially get a better deal on the purchase of the wheel.
So your next steps, I know we got city meetings coming up, right?
Yep. We had city meetings coming up. We've already started putting deposits down on the wheel. So we're a little bit out on a limb here. And, but I think that barring some of the comments that I think are largely, a lot of the comments were just lacking the information that I saw online. But I think that we've seen a lot of positive support. We've got a meeting on October the 9th with City Council, and then we've got a second one on October 23rd. And so that's our kind of our runway. We've done a public notice. We put notices out to, I think, almost 400 residents that are within the nearby area. And it's coming up quickly, but honestly, we've been working on this. I looked at the calendar. We went in the aquarium's office for the first time on October 9th last year. So this has not been a short run for us. We've been canvassing the community and making sure that we're getting the support. And so making sure that we're available to answer questions.
Any further questions?
Nice presentation.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Good luck.
I mean, boy, this would be a postcard with a cruise ship behind.
Yeah.
It'd be a postcard.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Do we need to?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do I have a motion on the floor?
To support,
Yeah, I make the motion to support.
Okay, do I have
Wow.
a second? A second? Any further discussion? I see none. Signify by saying aye. Unanimous. Right. Okay. Thank you for choosing Tampa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard you before. I've been here for a long, long time, and since 1982, and it was America's next great city. And I feel like we're now we are that great city. So thank you all for your time and support.
Preston, thank you for all your hard work.
Be around for a
Okay.
couple. Want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think.
You bet.
Okay. So, we're gonna go into, Mr. Ed Washington.
Want me to go ahead?
Please.
Okay,
Yeah.
Just so you know, we were approved by city council for the expansions in what's called Canada. That's going to be filled in. We're going to add another cruise terminal, which will give us 4 terminals. Our numbers, we just had an economic impact study done from 8 years ago. Got it November of this last year. And then we had about 1.2 million passengers at that time. We had $530 million of economic impact, 535 million economic impact from the cruises alone. And we had 249 vessels. So that works out to $2.1 million per vessel of economic impact. Our cruises for 24 are going to be 272 calls. And you can run the numbers on that and extrapolate and see what that economic impact 2.1 per call. Fiscal year 25 is going to be 370 calls. And we're anticipating for fiscal year 26, 395 calls. So you run that out at $2.1 million, it's an incredible impact we have. Thus, the reason we're having we've had a lot of demand even prior to these numbers coming in. So we're very excited about that. I appreciate everybody's support in allowing us that opportunity. Now, from a passenger standpoint, in fiscal year 22, we had 418,000 passengers. 23, almost 1.2 million passengers. 24 is going to be 1.4, and 25 will be 1.6. and we anticipate the following year to be about 1.8 million passengers. So that will feed in a little bit of what you're looking for. We're very excited about the cruise activity we've had here. And it was, of course, this was prior to my coming on board, but I think it was about 8 years ago. Study came out and said, you guys will probably fail to be best in getting 500,000 passengers in that one. So, you know, the big deal for us is the Skyway Bridge. There's a 180-foot draft there, and we cannot get the big whoopie-doo cruise ships. We're limited to about a maximum of 3,000 passengers ship. That could be bad, but it's also good if you look at some ports of call around the world, like Spain and a few other places that are sick and tired of the large cruise ships coming in 3 at a time when you're dumping in 16,000 people one day. And it's a tough thing. I don't like the big cruise ships. I like the small cruise ships. So there's a benefit of both. Just wanted to fill you in all of that.
No, that's
If there's any questions.
I got a question.
Yes.
Am I allowed to ask a question? Please. Of your passengers, how does that demographic break down in terms of families versus maybe singles or people that are not bringing kids? Do you have that, like, percentages of what that looks like?
I don't know offhand, but I will find out for you and get that. You know, you have different, you know, at Carnival or Caribbean, Norwegian and Margaritaville, all kinds of stuff, you know, demographic.
Yeah.
But I'll find that out for you.
Okay.
You have contact?
I do. I
Is
don't
it
have a card, but I can give you.
Okay. I'll give you my card. Send you an email.
But as a cruiser myself, I think that the wheel will be a draw because people are going to want a picture of their ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to look down on it,
Yeah.
would be really cool.
Find-
And I know when you're on, I take a cruise out of here and you're sitting there and waiting, we think it's great. So it's the draw of cruisers wanting to then be able to also turn around and take a picture of the ship. if They're going to be on, or you're on.
Ed, I saw the presentation that was just recently at the workshop on Terminal 4, we'll call it, the coming in. One request, because I believe it will come up at the next meeting, is to make sure that the Riverwalk in development is taking into consideration of its expansion from basically beneficial all the way past Terminal 4.
Sure.
And that that is thought and put into it.
Yeah.
I had a conversation earlier today with Mary Beth Williams, who's, you know, the executive director of Riverwalk, and definitely would like to see that
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and make sure that's part of
And,
it.
and we're all about that. The biggest thing for the cruise is security and safety.
Right.
And we have to be cognizant of that given our world today.
Yeah.
You know, so-
And I know there's a lot of different versions going on and how that goes, but that will also impact the wheel.
Well, I
So-
think you all know that over the years, the board's been a good partner to it.
You guys are great stewards. Yeah.
Again, I've only been here 2 years, but it's been a great 2 years.
Yeah.
And so y'all know my script.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good information. And Ed, can you, that limitation that you said at the Skyway, what is that again?
180.
180 feet is the maximum, right?
And these numbers that you see here on this, this is from 8 years ago. The annual economic impact doubled from 17 billion. The jobs went up from, I think it was 88,000 to 192,000. And the salary also went up. So big economic impact.
No, it's fantastic. Just make sure when you do your performance, when they say 1.2, it's actually they count one going in, going on the boat and then going off the boat. So it's actually, it's half of that. So I just want to make sure when you do your performance,
But
that it's half.
when you look at the numbers though, they're coming in and going out, but they're also spending money both times.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Absolutely.
there's probably, there might be a difference. I would say probably a heavier difference going out.
Yeah.
As the embarking versus disembarking.
Yep.
It depends on what they do. You find that, you find situations like, people coming from New York or Boston, come down there, they're gonna catch a hockey game and, maybe a spring game, it's not going to field, or, you know, if they're in Tropicana Field or wherever, you know, they'll combine them all in one. We've seen that quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of-
Get more reasons to stay,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
you know?
They spend some time there.
Yeah, well, thank you for that report.
Sure.
We, very nice to hear that. Okay, Courtney, you're up.
Yeah, mine will be super fast. A&D Automotive Center land acquisition, the mayor has signed the contract. That was kind of the final step of after CRA board chair signed it and the mayor signed it, and real estate has provided the notice to proceed for the environmental testing. And that's about a 10-week turnaround, the environmental testing. So everything's moving fast.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What, we wish we would have had you and Abby here a long time ago. We would have owned a lot more dirt.
Yeah, so this is great.
This is fantastic. I mean, think about this. It's gonna get rid of all place, you know, he's got the right to be there, but a place
Yeah.
with cars, we're gonna have now you're gonna be able to see there's a park on from Twigs. I mean, it's gonna be so beautiful. So good job. Okay, go on to capital.
Yeah, and those are just spreadsheets in your packet, so we don't need to really discuss anything there. And then that's all I have.
Okay, any further new business from the group? That was a good meeting
Yeah.
and, good questions. Yeah, good deal. So, okay, well, we are, any announcements from CAC members? None? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
My wife's from down there. You have to. My daughter's house. We actually had lunch at the Columbia.
Thank you.
Yeah, love it.
One of my
I gotta pick up
favorites.
somebody here tonight.
Just
It's not into.
So Courtney, that comes out to $83,333.33 per unit. If you divide 5 million into